films from the mind of a modern Renaissance man.
As I continue to explore the world of cinema, I am always awestruck whenever I encounter one of the medium's Renaissance men. A Renaissance man is defined as a person who has many talents or areas of knowledge, and they are rare. I am a big believer that cinema, whilst being a collaborative medium, ultimately functions best for a singular voice, as this approach allows the film to be as personal as possible. Many of my favourite directors are naturally responsible for writing their own scripts, but there are some directors whose scope goes beyond this. Take a director like Kubrick, for example, whose knowledge of still photography greatly informs his cinematic style. It was this foundation in the art of photography that allowed Kubrick to become a master of the image. And then you have a director like David Lynch, who, as Kyle MacLachlan said, is a
modern Renaissance man.
So you found out that Stanley Kubrick thought Eraserhead, once you had finished it, was one of his favorites.
That was a great moment for sure. It wasn't one of his favorites, it was his favorite.
On Eraserhead, David was responsible for an unprecedented level of the film's production. Over the course of 5 years, David not only wrote, directed, and produced the film, he was also responsible for its art direction, editing, production design, and sound. The knowledge of all of these elements of film production proved invaluable to David throughout his career. In particular, David's background as a painter and his strong emphasis on sound are the fundamentals of a true master in mood and the abstract.
Cinema, to me, is sound and picture moving together in time. And for me, it was born out of painting.
It can't be overstated just how important sound and music are in film. Historically speaking, picture was emphasised over sound, with the silent film era being the most notable example of this. But as the medium of film has evolved, the importance of sound and music has only increased. The sound and picture that move together in time are of equal importance, and I would argue that sound can actually be even more important than the image at times. With this in mind, I would like to introduce you to a Japanese director whose journey into film was born out of music.
お名前を。はい。岩井俊二です。お仕事は映画監督です。
I started my career at the university. I was 18 years old and I started making films and I studied, but I learned by myself on my own, watching a movie and video over and over again. And then I could get this, some technique how to make a film. I tried to become the mangaka for 1 year, but it's quite tough for me. So I got back to the filmmaking once again. And when I was in university, I was supposed to be a composer if I could play some instruments like a piano or guitar, because I came up with some musical score for the first place. But I couldn't express by myself. That's why I wrote the script and I was filming. But honestly, I composed the scores, some of my independent film in university. And then I graduated university and I started my career from the director. I tried not to become the movie director, but the music video or TV commercial, because people said it's quite hard to take part in the movie industry. It's mostly like army back then, in Japan.
Ever thought about your dreams coming true? I feel like mine have before I dreamed them.
I've been working on music video scene for 2 or 3 years, and I was so happy making music videos. But at the same time, I feel a little bit got boring because I couldn't write any script for that, and we couldn't touch any soundtracks. We only take a picture like a silent film. I mean, music video. The most important thing is if you can take a good pictures or not. It's very frustrating for me because I did everything in university. Writing a script and taking almost a 90 minutes length film. So when I was at home, I've been writing some script for the future. And time goes by, I feel like I would make the drama, the music video scene, and the TV drama scene, and the movie industry are separated and no connection with each other. So it's quite hard to do everything. But sooner or later, some other producers got in touch with me and they are saying, why don't you take a TV drama? And I said, of course, yeah, I really want to do that. And then I moved to the drama scene. And finally, I made 10 short dramas before starting a feature film.
With his debut feature film Love Letter, Shunji immediately established a distinct style that would go on to define his later works.
Every time it depends on the idea, and sometimes it's very dark and sometimes it's very happy. But mostly, I'm not the type who can come up with a happy idea. Basically,
Love Letter explores many of the key themes of Shunji's work, such as memory, youth, loss, and communication, as the main character Hiroko begins to write letters to uncover her fiancé's past.
Their communication is very awkward because I love those stories, I love those characters.
Taking place in the rapidly evolving urban world of 90s Japan, technology is changing how the characters communicate with each other. Letters are written both traditionally by hand and by computer. Working alongside his longtime cinematographer, Noboru Shinoda, Shunji makes full use of his visual background in music videos. The film is shot in a formal but ethereal way, perfectly capturing airy rooms and the stunning snowscapes of Kobe and Otaru. Paired with Love Letter's indelible visuals are Shunji's first steps at achieving total harmony between music and image.
One Chinese producer told me, a good filmmaker, but you are also the good filmmaker of making a music film. I didn't realize until he told me so. But actually, come to think of it, I've been making films and that's really like music. So I think it's very important point when I make a film.
Following Love Letter, Shunji Iwai would continually reinterpret his key themes, as well as push his overall aesthetic to new places. Compared to the formal style of Love Letter, Shunji's 1996 follow-up films Picnic and Swallowtail Butterfly are much more loose in their camera work and narrative. This experimentation in his film form is offset by a change in how Shunji uses music, bringing it to the very forefront of his storytelling and using it as the glue that binds everything together.
April Story, 1998, when I was a composer. It was first trial as a feature film.
The total harmony of music and image. After evolving his film form and continuing to push the boundaries of what he's capable of, 2001's All About Lily Chou-Chou is the film that Shunji Iwai was always destined to make. Inspired by none other than Faye Wong, whom Shunji saw live at a concert in Hong Kong, pop star Lily Chou-Chou and her music are the only source of solace for our protagonist Shuichi. Compared to his prior films, All About Lily Chou-Chou carries a darker edge, but once again sees Shunji reinterpret his key themes of youth, memory, loss, and communication. This new world, however, is a far cry from that of Love Letter, and the letters that were written just 6 years prior have now become obsolete because of technology.
Everything is changing, especially the device has changed, so it's very different.
All About Lily Chou-Chou was one of the first features shot with Sony's groundbreaking digital Cine Alta 24p HD camera, and with it, cinematographer Noboru Shinoda delivers not only his greatest work, but also one of the defining films of the digital era. Never have the rice fields of Japan looked more deceptively beautiful than this, and the film's aesthetic is completely unrivaled. If I could have my life captured, I would want Shunji Iwai to capture my days, and Wong Kar-wai to capture my nights, because to me this is the aesthetic of life. To pair with the visual aesthetic is the soundtrack, which is again to me one of the greatest soundtracks ever in film. If Lily Chou-Chou existed, I'd be a Lilyholic too. In fact, maybe I already am, as I seem to find myself returning over and over to her music.
I really love music, basically.
While Lily doesn't exist, composer Takeshi Kobayashi does, as well as the singer Salyu, who deserve all the credit in the world for their achievements here. Their work definitely has not gone unnoticed, with some songs from All About Lily Chou-Chou's soundtrack being reused elsewhere, most famously by Tarantino in Kill Bill Volume 1, but also more recently as Mitsuki did a cover of the song Glide for the 2022 film After Yang. The soundtrack also includes choir arrangements composed by Shunji himself and the classical music of Debussy, which perfectly contrasts with the pop style of Lily Chou-Chou. I really can't praise All About Lily Chou-Chou enough. This is the magnum opus of Shunji Iwai's work and one of my absolute favourite films ever made. With this work, Shunji established himself as a master of cinematic lyricism. Being a composer at heart, he understands more than anyone what truly communicates with us. It's not the text or words that we exchange with each other that are so often lost in translation. What is truly communicative to us is music, because regardless of what language a song is sung in or whether a song has any words at all, in some way it speaks to us, and we understand it. Walter Pater said, "All art constantly aspires to the condition of music, and it is in this space of pure abstraction and freedom that Shunji Iwai's cinematic language thrives."
だからまあ要は何事も考えようというか、その考え方によって捉え方、ポイントオブビュー見方によって